Here's a little thing. Hello, welcome to the episode.
Hi, guys.
Do you want to show me your best version of an American guy who's in a control room and he's just seen that the zombie apocalypse has spread all the way down the whole of America, and you have to say, "Oh my god." I'll start it off.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's one of those. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my god. No, because that's too heavy for
That
me.
was too like a zombie, wasn't it?
Because I'm thinking more, it's like, "Sir, we've lost Houston."
We've lost what?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. It needs to be, it's kind of like,
Oh my god.
you need to be looking up and saying, "No, there must be a, oh my god.
No, this has to be a mistake. There must. Oh my god.
It's spreading. It's too fast." It's when you know.
It's happening.
Oh my god.
Get the president on the phone.
Call McFagin. No, I can't call him
McFagin? I'm not sure McFagin is the guy you need to be calling. Nor is that going to pass any screen tests.
I immediately thought MacGruber, but that has already been done as
MacGyver,
a joke. So I was like, what's a random name?
McFagin. McFagin is not the one.
Call McFagin. He's our last hope.
McFagin?
Yeah,
McFagin here.
I promise I'd never work again.
Oh, you have zombie apocalypse, so I help you with that. What is
hello.
that accent that everyone does? Is it like German? Like a Lederhosen German?
It's gay German.
Lederhosen German boy. It's like,
hello.
that's goofy chocolate man.
Yeah, it's gay German. Or maybe Bavarian, I don't know. I'm not well equipped with the complexities of the Deutschland accent. Welcome to the show, Andrew. Andrew's drinking a Stella established in 1366, which is a mystery that's never really been solved or discussed enough.
We discussed it.
Did we discuss it on the pod?
I'm pretty sure we did.
Did we discuss that?
We're now getting to a certain amount of episodes where I can't remember whether we did it on the student radio show or this radio show or just had the conversation in real life.
I mean, it's worth talking about again.
Yeah, let's try it
because 1366, part of me calls bullshit.
Yeah.
But it is absurd because you see a lot of things that say established 1958 or something like that and they push it. But 1366 is too long ago.
It's a very long time ago.
You can't be keeping Stella Artois going as a brand.
Yeah,
since 1366.
Well,
I just don't know how.
Well, it's more just being kind of passed around hand to hand in taverns, etc. I presume it might not be. It's not going to be the Stella we know it now.
It's not going to be in cans and stuff. But
no.
How does the company survive
in tankards?
Plagues.
Are you too high up, by the way?
Maybe I'll drop down a little bit. How does it survive?
There you go. Yeah.
How does it survive plagues, world wars? That's why when we're talking about longevity and how to survive things, we need to look at the business model of Stella Artois because they have clearly survived most of human history, developed human history.
They survived several catastrophic events.
Yeah, and it just didn't. Also, the amount of crashes they faced. They faced every recession.
Yeah, is beer recession proof?
Could be.
I think it might be. Alcohol, you're going to think it's recession. It's definitely depression proof. People went on the sauce on the depression.
It's true.
People go on the sauce in a recession.
So I think maybe we should do an episode where we talk about the history of Stella Artois because I'm surprised there's been so many things with like the secret history of, but there must be a lot. I don't know why there's not a museum. There's a fucking Guinness museum, which is the worst place in the world.
Well, that's more about where it's made and how and where it's made.
You could make a museum about the history of Stella Artois because it would.
Me?
You could.
You think I could?
Because it'd cover 700.
You really
years.
believe in me that much?
I do believe in you that much.
Okay.
But hey, how's your week been?
I'm sad to say that I've got to start off with a gripe.
That is. You never want to start.
You never want to start off with a gripe.
Sometimes you have to.
But when something boils over you like this, you've got to. Look, we talked about Olympic controversies last episode. The IOC's been acting pretty mentally, and there's a lot of sexist things going on.
I sent you one recently, the one they did after the episode.
Was it about the Holocaust joke?
No, it could have been the Holocaust joke.
Yeah. So like we've had some bad stuff already, but unfortunately there's even worse scandals in the Olympic ether that I've come across today. It saddens me to say that for equestrian sports, so that's sports with a rider and a horse, the horses don't get a medal.
That is a big shock.
The horses don't get a medal.
It's a big shock.
Now, I've seen a lot of the Olympics. Equestrian's probably the most boring sport.
I think it might be. I think dressage,
where they just clop around.
I think it is actually the most boring.
It's 100% the most boring. Because every team lasts for 17 minutes.
Even the skills on show don't.
Yeah, because you need to know something about horse riding to understand.
No, I see. I can understand how hard the skill is. It's still boring.
Yeah, it's boring. It's boring as shit.
It's not like too complex that I don't even understand why it's so difficult. It looks difficult as shit.
He's trotting along there and he's gone into the zigzag trot.
I would happily put forward for most boring Olympic sport. Comment below what you think. Otherwise,
Yeah,
is
no,
the
100%.
dressage.
I think
the dressage.
the dressage. But as soon as that comes on, everyone gets a bit upset. And like when there's a picture of what's like the picture, the thumbnail of the Olympics on the BBC, when it's a horse, you're not that excited.
No, not at all.
But the horses don't get a medal, and I've been working on the assumption for several years, having accidentally been watching dressage on a couple of occasions, accidentally. And I always presumed, I've never seen a medal ceremony, but I always presumed that the horse would get a medal. Because why the heck wouldn't they get a medal? They're doing most of the fucking work. They're clipping and clopping along. The fucking rider's just a passenger in this Olympic journey for the horse. Now, can you imagine a cuter photo opportunity?
Okay.
Dan, we all know the horses, they're incredibly talented horses. They can clop around on a very small surface area. They can get up on the podium. The horses can get up on the podium.
They're just
you
more
put the horse up on the podium.
As well as not only do the horses deserve
one, they're missing a trick.
They're missing a trick.
Imagine a picture with a horse and his gold medal. It's fantastic.
It's good.
It's fucking fantastic, and they deserve one.
Yeah.
And it sickens me that they don't get a medal.
Yeah.
It's obscene, and it's the most backward thing about this Olympic Games.
Okay.
We need to start treating our animals with respect.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to get many more young horses come up through the ranks into the Olympic Games for the Team GB if they don't get the requisite medals.
Do you think growing up as a young horse and seeing the kind of lack of respect that older horses, you'd think maybe I don't want to go into this industry?
I wouldn't put my hooves on. If I was a horse. I would not put them on because
I wouldn't get out of bed in the morning.
You've just seen the best horse in Britain go and come first in the Olympic Games.
No medal.
No medal. But the cunt who rides you gets one. You're a presser.
Yeah.
And that for me is backward because what it also suggests is the game is about how well a man or a woman can tame an animal, can tame a beast.
Sure.
But conversely, in the commentary I heard that
Conversely,
let's get converse on this ass. I heard that the horse supposedly is treated as equally as an athlete as the human, yet no medal.
Well, how do you mean?
As in, it's viewed as much of an athlete as a human.
It
doesn't get like its own hotel
It's only a
room.
nice commentary flow.
Correct.
It doesn't mean anything.
But if you're going to say things, you've got to back him up.
That's clearly say they're treated like an athlete, then a little chuckle.
No. It was like because it's a symbiotic relationship. It's not just about the horse, the human taming the horse.
How do you treat the horse like an athlete?
You give him a fucking medal.
Give him a medal, yeah. Clearly.
You give him a flipping medal.
I feel maybe because horses might not have the cognitive ability to appreciate a medal. Maybe you get a really tasty carrot that you could only have. Or find something.
If the horses aren't getting a tasty carrot,
I think they're getting that anyway.
Get a gold medal.
But
then
I'm
we're
saying,
fucked.
is there like a really expensive sweet treat?
If you can sit here, look me in the eyes, and say that you don't think that a glimmer of pride would show through that horse's eyes when he's standing on that podium and they put a medal on him, then I don't think you understand animals. And I don't think you understand humans.
Do you think he'd puff out his chest and look at just a little...
He would look like the proudest horse you've ever seen. Horses are pretty prideful creatures.
They are. They're majestic just by their nature. They've got
Put a medal on it.
Posture.
Can you imagine their face? That was a horse impression.
Yeah. Okay. So is that your gripe?
It's not. It's more than that.
Okay.
I feel like we need. This is. I don't want.
Well, I mean, in World War One, they gave Victoria Crosses to animals.
Yeah, 100%.
That was like a nice thing.
That was a nice thing. Exactly. It doesn't have to be just for the animals. It's a sense of appreciation of the horse's work because the horse is doing the lion's share of the work there.
Yeah, and when I was watching the dressage, how much is the horse? If we assume the horse has no fucking clue what's going on, really. Let's be honest. He doesn't know.
Just in a state of panic for the whole thing.
The horse, it does not have a complex enough brain to really know. So what the fuck does he think he's doing? Because he's only doing it from what he's been trained and been rewarded.
Yeah.
And so when he's doing this, like,
what
the fuck? Because it's so much, such a symbiotic relationship.
They've got to go the 1-2 where it's like,
and it's
left
like,
bit,
what
right
does
leg.
he enjoy doing that? What the fuck does he think's going on?
I think you'd be pissed off if you became a dressage horse rather than like a racing horse or a jumping horse.
Yeah, a racing horse.
It makes some sense.
Yeah,
although racing horses' conditions are much worse.
Much worse, actually.
So, mate, you want to be like a show jumper horse. If I was a horse, I'd be a show jumping horse.
Do you think?
Yes.
You'd get you'd be
then
the
again, no,
biggest
I wouldn't.
stud.
I wouldn't because I wouldn't have, as a young horse, I wouldn't have had the adequate kind of what do you call it? Something to kind of get me through into the motivation to get me into the Olympic Games.
I think if I was a horse, I'd be just a stud horse, just great genes.
I'm just there to milk sperm
copious
out of you.
amount of sperm.
I was going to say, you've got to be the most applicable as you are as a human.
Yeah.
So.
And they just let me into the field with like 20 mares, and I'm like, right, who's
first?
next?
Who's first, ladies?
Which one of you?
Which one of you? Come on.
And never speak to the kids. Don't give a fuck. I got too many of them. I'll just move on to the next mare.
Yeah.
That would be my dream. Would be the stud horse.
Yeah. I believe that if we had, because I've seen, podcasts that are, quite big.
Ooh.
I'm not out here trying to brag.
You,
I'm not trying to
The
brag.
horses aren't the only one who deserve a medal.
No, I've seen, there's those Chad and JT, is it? JT?
Yeah, goes deep.
They've done some, they've ended up in some sort of council where they're trying to get a statue of Paul Walker up on.
I think they've got, these two comedians have gone to the town hall.
Yeah, they have.
Where everyone has a right to raise comments, I think.
Raise comments?
You're allowed to raise an appeal in the town hall.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if we were bigger, I would honestly start a petition and publicly back and campaign for horses to get medals.
Would you go to a town hall? Do you think there's a town hall?
I was thinking because when I was looking at Chad and JT doing, I was like, I'm not sure I'd ever be able to do that. But for something like this, I'd feel absolutely, because I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Give the fucking horse. There's no reason not to give the horse a
medal.
medal.
You're in Tower Hamlets.
Town
council.
Even
and you're shouting at them.
We're not holding the Olympics. Yes, but you have power, and if you are silent, then the rest of us are silent. Am I right?
Close the borders until don't let anyone out of Tower Hamlets.
Withhold water. We must get this sorted. And, it's just, if anyone from the IOC is listening, just get it fixed, man. Just
get it done.
Give a horse a medal. What's the fucking harm? All there can be is joy from it.
Yeah. Have you been enjoying the Olympics this year?
Well, other than that, I'm pretty fret up on that. Yeah, I have been enjoying it a lot. One, I've been watching a lot.
It's the loneliest number that you'll ever see.
One of the things I've been watching a lot is the old Gymnastics because it's on. It's been fun. I believe gymnastics is much like giraffes.
Go on.
Now, you might remember my old parable that another petition I believe in is that we should stop showing giraffes and kind of African crazy animals to kids.
Yeah, the overexposure of
exotic
animals.
The overexposure of exotic animals in childhood leads to a lack of fascination with them when you're an adult. And I'm so fed up of being used to giraffes. Now,
when you were growing up, my class was called the giraffes.
Was it? That's pathetic.
The giraffes, the elephants, they were all called the lions and stuff.
It's child abuse.
I've seen a giraffe in the wild, nothing.
Yeah, I saw a rhino. I wasn't lucky enough to see a giraffe when I was on tour in South Africa.
Did it mean anything to you?
Didn't mean nothing.
Honestly, I was like...
Didn't mean no.
I looked at it, I was like, I've been surrounded by pictures and logos.
And animations, and now animation's getting even more realistic.
I prefer it.
I'd rather watch a Disney film. Stick the Lion King on than show me all these animals I've already seen.
I see lions, I'm like, mate, I support England. 3 lions on the shirt.
They're on the shirt.
And there's only one of you.
There's one of
So, already.
What are you going to do?
Exactly.
So that's
another thing you can go in the town hall.
Yeah, no, that's something. I was going to say I don't think there's many things I believe passionately about, but
there's quite a lot. Actually,
they're all coming out. I believe gymnastics is a bit like that. Now, gymnastics doesn't have a lot of everyday exposure on a day-to-day basis. Who won the world champs? You couldn't tell me, could you? Because you're a fool, a dunce who rolls in the dirt and buries his head in the sand.
A muddy pig boy.
A muddy pig boy. But gymnastics, but when it does come on, so when you watch the first, when they're doing the vault or something, you watch the first one and you're like, oh my God, that's mental. And then if you watch more than one, everything suddenly becomes too normal. If you
you see the shit ones and you
need to see the shit ones because you're looking at people and then once you've been watching it for 2 days straight, you're kind of critiquing them on some parts of it. But you need to stand back and go, what the fuck are these people doing? What the fuck is wrong with them?
Yeah.
The shit that they do is fucked up, man.
Yeah, it's messed up.
It shouldn't be broadcast before the watershed.
No, definitely not.
It's obscene.
It's traumatic.
It's too much.
Yeah.
And but I want that experience. I want to be, oh my God.
There's not enough of them for the top of the talent pool to be that good.
Yeah.
Like in football, top football in the world, there's so many footballers you kind of expect.
But you can't do that much with a football.
There's not that many pommel horse artists.
Maybe not in your circles.
I don't roll with a lot of pommel horses. No. But for them to...
Pommel horse.
Pommel horse.
What's the plural for horse? Horses. Pommel horses, yeah. Fair.
Pommel...
Horses.
No, because the pommel horse isn't the one who's...
Yeah, they are.
No, because the horse you're riding the horse.
Yeah,
Your pommel horse.
joking, yeah,
It'd be a pommel horse rider.
A pommel horse rider. Give the pommel horse a medal. Maybe that's something I haven't really thought about. Give every single horse. If every single horse
if we're
deserves
gonna
a medal.
give the horses a medal, I think that
How
would be,
far do we take this? Give the ringers a medal.
Do you know what? I think that's the perfect counter argument. When you go to the IOC, you've managed to work through all the councillors you finally got, and then this just suave guy like,
Yeah.
oh, you want to give the horse? Well, should we give the pommel horses a medal?
Scrambling through my notes. You've got me, sir.
Yeah, but
I
imagine
withdraw
how
my
cute
request.
that would be, having the pommel horse up on the thing with the gold medal.
I think that'll be perverse. So I'd love the
I think
spectacle.
it might undermine
medals.
It might undermine the tournament.
It might undermine the
But remember,
Olympics.
there's only one pommel horse, isn't there?
There is only one pommel horse, and it would be great if they had to go around and give every single bit of the apparatus a medal at the end of it. Good job, congratulations. It's like when they give the referees a medal at the end of a major tournament. In
do
football.
they?
Yeah, referees get medals.
That's nice.
That is nice.
So they're kind of like
They get
they're
medals?
like inanimate objects. It's basically what you're
No, I think
they're like apparatus.
Look, I know it sounded like that, but what I was more saying is you're giving the refs a medal who, they're important, but they don't win.
No.
But we're not giving our winning horses a medal.
Or pommel horse.
Or pommel horse.
Pommel horse eye. Gymnastics, would you say that what's been your favourite to watch?
What's been my favourite sport?
Dressage is obviously shit.
Okay.
What's the best one to watch been so far?
It has been the gymnastics to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like bouncy floor.
There's not, that floor ain't even that bouncy.
It's not that bouncy.
It ain't
still
even.
pretty.
They're essentially doing that on just a fucking.
There's some springs
floor.
on it.
There's if you watch them walk on it. There's a few springs. There's a little bit.
Yeah, but when
springy.
you're like 2 feet bounce, then you can really get a bit.
There's a
of
little
traction.
bit. It's
Yeah.
a small amount of bounce.
Yeah.
There ain't that much bounce.
Yeah.
They're essentially just doing it on the floor.
But it does look like great floor. Like I'd love that floor. I'd love to have like that floor because if I was of their quality,
so you can practice your roly polies.
Well, if I was of their level, I would have a big conservatory. I'd get a big house out in the country, and all the floor would be that. And then on my way,
I think you're overestimating how much gymnastics are paid, but
this is imagining. I've been funded by generational wealth.
Generational wealth.
Okay,
like a horrible amount. Dating back to slavery.
Our family's done terrible things,
yeah.
but managed to. With the Stella Artois family, we've been around.
Oh, you're the Artois.
It was started by Stella.
Yeah, Stella Artois.
Hello, it's just this girl called Stella Artois.
Do you think it was?
Well, no, it was not started by Stella. Mrs. Artois.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Why are you positive?
Well, maybe it was started by.
You can't be positive.
By a girl called Stella.
Yeah. No, but it's Stella Artois.
Stella Artois.
It is French.
So I'm part of the Artois dynasty, dating all the way back to 1366. There's deep generational wealth, and that's why they can fund. In the way that, a lot of rich kids do these sports because it's like modern day knights in the way that lords and ladies want their sons to do.
Jousting.
Jousting.
Yeah.
And I would be a gymnast, and I would have a huge, big hall. And I'd actually have my bed in there as well. I'd sleep in this one big room, the whole thing. Yeah. And then when I get out of bed, I'm going to the kitchen. I would do the whole routine. So I'd do the bounce,
straight onto the toilet.
Straight onto
Landing
the toilet.
on the toilet.
Get out the toilet, bouncy, go to the fridge. And so I'd just have it, shower.
Yeah.
So I would have it as like an open plan type thing with maybe small dividers to kind of split up the rooms, but I can bounce over the dividers.
Not a great work-home balance.
Or the perfect
work-life.
Work-life.
That was work life, but that also just sounds like work life.
Work-life
balance.
Or is it the perfect work-life balance? Because it actually seems quite perfectly balanced, seeing as that you're never working.
But you're never away. You're always working.
You're never.
Do you not think
you're also never working?
In this Artois dynasty
Sure.
that you've inhabited and have decided to use the money to become a gymnast, do you not think
copious amounts of money? We've been around for a long time. Every story we've
blood
had,
diamond money.
You look
Horrible
at any
shit.
historical event. If you do enough research, one of the Artois
It's like one
has
of those
something
things
to do
when
with it.
any historical
Like the
picture,
Rothschilds.
any big historical picture you'll see an Artois in.
There's always. Even the moon landing.
My
there's
an Artois.
There's an Artois up there. There's always one of us sneaking about.
So in this situation, do you not feel there is any point that you will eventually become slightly fed up with gymnastics? Do you not? You've come home from practicing the pole vault. That's not gymnastics.
I've
You come
thrown
home.
my bags down. They've bounced and hit the wall.
For fuck's sake!
I've thrown and bounced, smashed.
This was a
the
terrible
window.
idea. I should have never done this. You wake up in the morning, forget it's a bouncy floor, hit the fucking ceiling. I think you're gonna, unless you're the most dedicated gymnast that you want to be training every second of your life.
Part of being an Olympiad is having those tough years without any sort of validation. You know, these Olympiads have been, no one knows them only once every 4 years. So you do a lot of work in the shadows. I would have friends over. And how do you else to impress your friends by saying, do you want to, any guys want any cocktails? All right, I'll see you. And then just.
I think that speaks more about your insecurities than it does about anything else.
What? Mojito?
Yeah, no, that's the problem is the public.
You're drinking bourbon? Yeah, you are. All right, see ya.
Your friends would get fed up with that immediately. Because you'd come back and you'd spill all the drinks as you're trying to do that on the way back.
No, because I'd have, you know, those swinging things. You know, those...
The bars.
The things you can hold...
The rings.
No, you can hold a cup of
it's not gymnastics.
And you know when you can spin it around and it doesn't...
Lazy Susan.
Sort of.
What?
That you can have an unspillable cup. So it means I could do it and hold on. Because of like...
Do you mean a lid?
No. These guys know what I mean. There's like a weight balance thing where you can have mugs, so you can hold them like this, and no matter what happens, it'll always be straight.
I don't think I've
It's
seen
like
one of them.
it's sort of got like a dolly action, like a gimbal style
Sure.
action. So I would be flipping the whole way, and I'll be holding like 3 of those.
I'm not sure those would work with you when you're flipping around.
No, they will. That's what's amazing about it. Is that I'll be flipping. Well, yeah.
If you show me a device that exists in the world that you can do you can do like 6 front flips and the drink doesn't spill, I'll give you my house.
You give you my. I can have your house.
You can have my house. All of this is yours.
This is fine. All right, that's a great deal. I accepted. Yeah.
So no, I forgot what I was going to say.
I still think flips are
Underrated.
just so funny. I was watching. There was something. One of the funniest things I've seen is watching Love Island with BB. The ridiculous editing. One of them got a text and they found out they were going for like brunch or something. And the two people. They found out 2 of the villa were going on a date.
Yeah.
And they all go crazy when 2 people go on a date. So the whole thing's like going, yeah. And it start with everyone like cheering, happy.
Yeah.
And then the shots cut to then they started dancing. And then it just kept getting more. And they're like going crazy. And it keeps building up. And then one of the shots, just one of the guys just does a full frontal flip into the pool. And I just love it as a way of like finding out your friend on a date. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just as a way of showing
It seems
happiness.
a front flip seems like it's always an overreaction.
It does.
I don't think there's any situation where you could win, let's say, an Olympic gold medal. If you do a front flip, it's like, all right. I can never see it being an appropriate response.
I think it'd be nice if you did a front flip if that wasn't your you won the archery.
Yeah, no, it's nothing to do with your sport. Yeah, not that you want it for flipping.
But
or if like I think we should if I could flip, you should do it in more everyday life situations. Like your coffee arrives, they finally call out Andrew.
It would. I'm very jealous. Do you remember Aston from JLS used to always?
Of course,
whip
I
out.
remember Aston from JLS.
Remember, he used
JLS
to
was
always.
my first ever concert. I went with Max. Paterson.
Really?
I went with Max Paterson and our 2 mums.
My first ever concert was in the Brighton Dome
Was
seeing
Rizzle
Kicks. Let's get down with the
Hey,
trumpets.
I'd already been there. I'd been around the scene. I'd been around the JLS hall and I knew what I was doing.
Well, JLS good
I'd been
live.
previously with my mum, so I knew the routes. I knew where the toilets were, and I was ready to take you on your first ever trip.
You're like an air hostess.
3 beers, please. You're 16. Never mind.
We had Red Bulls. How was JLS live?
It was life changing. I believe that's the reason I have such a strong connection with music as I do.
Do you
now.
think?
Fortunately, I can't remember any of their songs.
Really?
Fuck,
It's a shame.
come on.
It is a shame.
I think it's worth getting one up.
But seeing Aston do the backflip
Yes.
often,
Yes.
whenever there was like a cut of them out in the field, or anything,
Correct.
to have that skill would be incredible. But I also think doing it out of frustration is as funny as well, not just a celebratory thing.
Oh! God! Oh, and then storm off.
That's something amazing.
I mean, it's a great comedy aspect. It's almost worth training to do a front flip just for the comedy you can get out of it.
Yeah,
Just doing it on stage.
definitely. Oh, mate, if that was my gimmick. Yeah.
Just finished telling me there's no time. No time. You could be
Which one was that? Saying no time. That was the one who was less good looking.
He front flips in. He goes, no time.
He's the one with the least talent because it was a boy band. Marvin.
I think Marvin. He's that bloke.
Yes. Yeah.
Aston, Marvin, JB, and Oreo.
Oh, you got to stop it for copyright reasons. Great. What else is in the plan?
Well, I had a lot of coincidences.
Oh, yeah.
To me, so let's talk about my coincidences. We've never discussed this on the radio show, but Horatio doesn't necessarily believe me because he doesn't believe in a lot of things in life.
I just think that it kind of builds into, which I'm sure you can appreciate by nearly all of Andrew's observations or even gripes, are always extraordinarily small-minded. They're always like the smallest gripe about something that doesn't matter whatsoever.
If you don't think giving horse medals in the Olympics matters, then I'm not sure I should be represented on this podcast anymore.
It's this sort of mentality that builds into coincidences, and it wasn't the fact that it was the arrogance that he thought coincidence happened to him.
Let me say my piece before you critique it.
Okay,
Hey?
you go ahead, because it does piss me off.
So, I have throughout my life been party and involved in many, many, many coincidences above the average level. Coincidi. Apologies. my humble apologies to the viewers and her esteemed majesty. I've encountered many coincides in my everyday life, and now this is a classic confirmation bias. So is it that I love coincidences so much? I get a real joy when a coincidence happens. I will not stop talking about it for a long time. Can we hear that?
Yeah, well, a little bit, but it's fine.
It's hailing.
I'm just going to start coming through because my this room is leaking because our handyman is so shit. It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
Steve has gone up and tried to fix that 4 times, and every time he goes, "That's all done now. Sorry about."
Yeah.
Every time it rains heavily, it starts dripping. Every single time.
For the old school viewers, would actually know Steve. Who's been here for nearly a year. Steve's been back a couple of times.
Steve came last week to fix the thing in my room.
He came last week to fix the gutters. He thought he left the ladders here at our house in our garden. He came to pick them up himself maybe 3 months ago, so we couldn't fix the gutters.
Yeah, and he was like, sorry, he thought the ladder. But it's also like, you haven't been here for 5 months. It's fucked up if you've left your ladders in our garden for 5 months.
Just while we're on Steve, quick.
Sorry.
Steve, right, so for those of you that haven't been around with us for so long.
Our handyman is extraordinarily shit.
And he's quite fat. Which
Morbidly.
Is
and like, there's being like body shaming, and then there's like, oh, this is
a health problem.
Yeah.
So he comes. What's unfortunate is that he seems to come on the hottest days of the year.
Yes.
It is. If you think about every time Steve's come, it's been fucking hot, which doesn't help him out. But every time he'll come and he'll spend about 2 hours doing maybe a 10-minute task, and he'll come down and explain to us what he's done. It always seems to be me as well.
Yeah.
And you've just got to awkwardly maintain eye contact as he leans down on the sofa and just goes, and then explains. So I've done the tiles and I couldn't really get to the back of the bath because of the.
He once was telling me
I've glued the shower curtain to the wall, which he actually did.
Wait, was that him?
Yeah.
Did he glue it to the wall?
Yeah, he glued the shower curtain to the wall to stop a leak. What? I don't know. I don't know if it's relevant. I don't know if that works.
I thought it melted because of the heat.
No,
so that's why I was trying to pull
Steve
it.
Glued it to the wall.
Why are you gluing it?
I don't know.
To stop a leak.
But I think this is handymen in general have a particular way of saying things. So when they come down and tell you, maybe it's social awkwardness, so that just everything that they've done
you go,
seems
yeah,
like,
cool.
Oh, cool, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they leave, like, wait, why is he glued the shower curtain to the wall to stop a leak?
The best thing is we'd had Steve come in. He never fixes anything. And then for the gutter job, it was a 2-man job. So he brings in Tony, who's comically short, also bald.
Yeah.
And it's just like this amazing comedy double act, this sort of Laurel and Hardy type
they really
thing.
Are. Well, they literally brought a ladder for
They brought a ladder.
They brought a ladder right through my room.
it was like...
broke a couple of things.
Like the Chuckle Brothers.
Tripped water all over my computer and then left. But the most disconcerting thing about Steve is he leaves his wife in the car. So he's been round and he's done a good 5.
Remember, Steve will only come if he's in the area.
Yeah.
He'll never come even if it's urgent. He'll be like, "Well, I might be in that area in a month's time."
Well, we're talking about there is an unbelievable amount of water coming out of that roof
right now.
And that's obviously pretty urgent. So he came in a week. But then I haven't heard from him for 2 weeks because he didn't have the ladders.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's done like a good 5 hours on this house before. And his wife sits in the car for the whole time, and it terrifies me.
Hottest day of the year.
I feel like we need to. Yeah, he doesn't even crack a window.
Yeah.
I feel like we should maybe call someone about this.
Or maybe we should start like a campaign like "Don't leave your dogs in hot cars. Don't leave your wives in hot cars. Make sure they've got plenty of water.
Gotta give them like a cold blanket, maybe some ice.
Make sure you just crack a window.
Crack a window. It can save lives. But what was even more disconcerting about the last time Steve came was that he was with Tony again.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't with Tony. He was with another guy. And his wife was out in the car, of course. They finished up. He did his telling me what happened and what he did. Yeah. They stayed outside, like milling around the car and in the car for about an hour and a half afterwards.
What, outside the house?
Outside the house, like an hour and a half. I kept catching their eye. I was just watching the F1. And they stayed outside the house like an hour and a half.
So bizarre.
It's almost like they have nothing else to do. It's like the wife has nothing. Oh, yeah, I'll come along. And then it's like, oh, what should we do now? I'll just sit outside of the street for an hour and a half. It's fucking terrifying.
Anyway, sorry for the Steve tangent. You are literally halfway through something and I completely forgot what you're talking about.
Coincidences, yeah.
Coincidize
has happened to me more than any other person on this planet. Now, it might be a classic confirmation bias.
Coincidi or not?
I think no. I think... So I really enjoy a coincidence. It fills my heart with passion, love, and joy. But that might, because of that enjoyment of them, it might be that I notice them more than they actually happen.
Sure.
So it could be that I'm interpreting more minor coincidences as significant ones, therefore thinking I have more. However, that isn't true because they happen to me way more than anyone else.
Okay. Nice counterpoint.
More recently. Look, I'm trying to keep it balanced. We've got broadcast guidelines to conform to. More recently, last weekend, Andrew and Adam go to the pub. Andrew and Adam, on the way to the pub, talk about... Adam asked me, kind of out of the blue, have you ever seen a car crash?
Sounds like a maths question.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the intention. Adam asked Andrew out of the blue, have you ever seen or heard or witnessed a car crash? Andrew pauses for thought. No, I don't think I have, actually, Adam. Have you? No, I haven't either. We then go and sit down in the pub. We then start having a conversation about two very different DJs that we like. One of them's from Romania. One of them's from England.
Sure.
Called Peach and VTSS. Adam really likes Peach. I really like VTSS. And we would start trying to arrange some things to happen that night. Not that night. Arrange events to go and see. Maybe one or the other or something. We'll part that. We then walked to a different pub. And I was telling Adam about Papa John's garlic sauce and how it's the worst.
This is literally the most you and Adam. You spend so long together that you spend all day. You work together, then you go to the pub together. It's like and then if you ever overhear it's nearly always you complaining about something so small. It's always you're talking about Papa John's garlic sauce. That was like the last time I left you. You were talking about that.
So, I was explaining to him Papa John's garlic sauce because he'd never had Papa John's garlic sauce in his life. Now, Papa John's garlic sauce is shit, and it tastes. It's essentially like butter. It looks
nicer.
It's like if someone melted butter into their mouth, then put a garlic clove in there, washed it around like mouthwash, and spat it back into the pot. That's what garlic sauce tasted and smelled like. Okay, we're about to round all these things up. Do you remember where we are?
Yeah, this is like a Christopher Nolan film. How does this get in?
Whilst I'm talking about the garlic sauce, we walked past the pub. We're on our way to a pub and it was a microbrewery. And as we were talking about it, the exact smell of the garlic sauce appeared. I know you're not going to be wowed by that because you're not there and you're not going to believe that it actually smelled exactly like it, but it smelled exactly like it. Although Adam hasn't had it, he smelt it,
the two
and he
DJs
agreed.
you're talking about had a car crash.
Shut up! Shut up! So, we then were shot. That is an unbelievable coincidence that as we were talking about the garlic sauce, the exact sauce of the garlic
Not
smell.
interested at the moment. But
Not interested at the moment.
Proceed.
We then sit down. We're sitting.
I bet you are.
I was like that because that was astonishing enough, and it's never going to be that transmittable to people who weren't there.
You were
I get that. I get that.
What?
Funnily enough.
What?
Funnily enough.
What is going on?
Funnily enough. That's why I started off with that one, because it's the least impressive because of how you can't... It's hard to live another person's smell. We then sit down at the pub, We're having a conversation. We hear a car crash. Everyone stands up in the pub, goes running over to where there was a car crash. Someone had crashed into a motorbike and then driven off. Like a hit and run.
Yeah.
We witnessed a car crash that day.
That's
a bit of a...
That's
You could, yeah, but you always contain your shock to try and not be like... You're going nuts in there.
I'm not going
Your little heart is beating
I'm
off
not
its
going
clackers.
Hey, we were talking about a car crash earlier, and Aaron, that's mental. Done. That's me done. You literally you're drinking more. Let's get some more beers. And then...
That, my friend, is not mental. That is life-changing.
So
and if you
what
can't
was the thing about
enjoy...
the DJs?
I then go home. Leaving Adam out. No, we both go home.
Yeah.
We then eventually go to bed.
After making some calls.
After making some calls, doing some things, informing all my friends of what just happened that night. And then in bed, and I'm flicking through VTSS, which is one of the DJ's stories. And lo and behold, there she was with Peach, who is Adam's favourite DJ. And they are not in any way connected. They play very different music. I think it's just because they both live in Hackney. And that was the only other time I've seen them affiliated. They wouldn't even play the same events because they're very different. And bam, there they were together on the story.
Okay.
3 coincidences, one day. Can you believe it? No, because I can't. Because I can't believe it. Fucking astonishing.
Yeah, I mean, the car crash one is a real...
Yeah, you can now critique it all.
The car crash one is like, oh, that would be really... We were just talking about car crashes. Because you rarely see a car crash, sure.
If you were there, you would have gone more mental. You're just pissed off that you're never there for a big coincidence.
I am there. I've been with you at many times.
Name one.
How about when we were watching... When we were watching... what's the fucking show, the quiz show with fucking Richard Osman?
House of Games.
We were watching House of Games.
Yeah.
And then you said...
Pretended, guess what the next category was.
And you said
80s porn stars.
80s porn stars, and it was stars of the 80s.
Stars of the 80s.
Yeah, that was a coincidence. I was there. Yeah,
You enjoyed that.
I did enjoy that.
And you would, yeah.
I've only bring it
You
up
went
now.
pretty nuts at that, I recall. You took your trousers off.
I did not take my trousers off.
The record will
I
show.
was wearing doubloons anyways.
It's true, they're more difficult to get off. However, I remember one more, which is a story absolutely worth telling. Is that me, Horatio, Paul, and Milo were in...
I like how you just say our friends' first names as if...
Yeah, because I'm not going to say me and my... Yeah, but they'll get... Okay, I think, can you presume that these are our friends?
Yeah,
or can we catch up?
But then there's me saying, Milo, who's...
They're not pausing up. Who the fuck is Milo?
Milo, did they talk about Milo, or was that the handyman? I don't know. Why is he speaking to me like I know the fuck these just generic white guy names are?
We're with our white friends.
Which is rare.
In
So
Lewes,
normally with our black
normally with our Asian friends. And our fat friends. But
we're with our white skinny friends.
Our white skinny friends. And Lewes, we were in Lewes, which isn't a name. That's
my town.
It's Horatio's town, the whitest town in the country.
It does sound like a white guy you went
to
school with.
It's, yeah, true. So we were in Lewes, and it was our last day before many of us went off to university, and we were all fairly good friends. We were very good friends. And so we had a little bit of a romping out in Lewes. And there's a castle in Lewes.
Oh my god, yeah, this is incredible.
There was a castle in Lewes, and we'd had a few cans of the old Stella Artois, and we thought, you know what?
My family's beer.
Of course, I didn't. I'm name checking for a reason. Yeah. So we thought, heck yeah. Let's scale the walls.
Yeah.
Let's sack the castle.
yeah.
So
it was the most like
we studied it for GCSE.
It was like the most generic like laddie behaviour I think I've probably done.
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
this isn't
because we're not normally the kind of traffic cones on your head.
I have never put a traffic cone.
Or like that kind of thing. But this is the most just classic. It felt medieval because it felt like we'd got drunk on mead in an ancient pub, and we'd literally just found a castle.
Devised a battle plan.
Let's raid the castle.
Let's raid it. So it had this Lewes Castle had an oddly special place in our heart because we studied it for GCSE and spent many hours writing about it. Yeah. So it seemed appropriate that we...
2 Motts.
2 Mott.
Very rare. Normally 2 Baileys.
Yeah. Could you believe it? The shock on my face when I realised that castle has 2 Motts and only 1 Bailey. I'll tell you what. Not a moat in sight.
Mott.
Moat.
Yeah. Mott.
Is that what a mott is?
Mott is different. A moat is...
Yeah, I know. And I was adding to it. Yeah.
Okay.
God, you need to brush up on your castle terminology.
Yeah.
So it seemed appropriate that we went up there and tried to get to the top of the keep. Because the keep is where you can see the lovely views of Lewes.
Sure.
And it seems, we're about to leave each other to go to university. Let's go up at the highest point of Lewes on a castle we've studied and take in the view and have a beer. We scaled the castle just fine. The barricades and kind of defences aren't what they used to be back in the 11th century. So then we got to the top, and then we thought we got there, but that wasn't enough for us. We thought, fuck it, we need a bench up here so we can properly
So you
enjoy
took a
it.
bench, yeah.
So we then managed to fashion up a bench up onto the top, and we rearranged a few benches.
Yeah.
It was silly behaviour. We were drunk, and then we didn't ever put the benches back.
Okay, I'm trying to work out what this coincidence is because I remember this.
We then go home.
This better not be. What I think it is.
Wait your ass off. We then go home and we sleep, and we wake up, and the next day Andrew's on his way back home to Hassocks.
This is not good, but go on. Often I'm like excited that you've got, and then I'm like, oh no, I remember this. This is okay. Go on.
If you think this is terrible,
This is not a coincidence.
Andrew's on his way back to Hassocks. Andrew's waiting. Andrew's literally about to walk through. I will cross the road even if there's not a green man.
Sure.
Like,
Famously.
But however, there were several cars going past, so I had to stop at this point in the road. I then stopped at this. Shut the fuck up. I stopped at this.
Really
I stopped at this point in the road,
Yeah.
and there's a police officer standing next to me, and then I hear from behind, coming back from the road I just walked down, going, "Hiya, yeah, sorry, can I just grab you? I've just got a bit of a weird one." And she then stands next to me, so there's just me, the woman, and the police officer standing at this road, looking across it. Yeah, I work at Lewes Castle, and there's been a bit of weird thing. It looks like someone's jumped over and rearranged all the benches. And I'm standing there, just eyes wide, just listening, but not daring to look. And then the green man went, so I had to go.
Yeah. I mean, it's a small town, and you did rearrange the benches.
To be at that exact moment, that conversation happened once, and for me to get to that
it did
point,
happen once.
yes, it did.
I'm sure she was telling
Yeah,
loads.
but
She was nattering to loads of people. She was nattering to shops.
But for it to be a
news
police
agents.
officer, she's reporting it to the police.
The police officer does not add.
People, you know that's a coincidence. Comment in.
It's a
and
funny
say,
story. Okay.
It's a coincidence.
Yeah. So coincidence.
Coincidence.
Yeah. So this just if you pisses me off about Andrew in general is these kind of. It's the fact that you can enjoy a coincidence, but then it's the whole day we now have to. And he won't. There's no reaction you can give him that will let him believe that you've had enough reaction to the coincidence. Look, he won't accept it.
I want to enjoy the miracles of life, and I want my friends to enjoy them too.
You don't.
I want my friends to enjoy them too.
You will think genuine miracles, and it won't be that bothered. And then
so excuse me. What do you mean? I see genuine miracles.
You're not like you're more obsessed with minor things. You're not out there.
Then what?
You're not out there looking for
miracles have I seen with you that I haven't reacted well enough to?
No, I don't mean like when you react to miracles, but you're acting like your whole life is about this. It's not. It's about these minute things, and that will give you more than something genuinely sublime.
Hey. I think part of the point of coincidences is that they're random events coming into collision without any meaning, which is even more meaningful than something with meaning.
Bookmark Boys.
Bookmark Boys.
Get your Bookmark Boys, make some bookmark noise, get your bookmark toys. These are our new sponsor. Well, not even new anymore. This is the 4th episode they sponsored us. Great ethical small business who are fans of the show. They have a great Instagram. So I'd say, look, you might not be sold on it. Just follow the Instagram. It doesn't cost you anything.
Have an effing look.
Just have an effing look yourself. She does good stories. She does good content. I think you can then think, look, shit. Okay, let's do a bit of a role play. Oh shit, it's Father's Day. What? There's only 2 days to go, and I don't know what to get him.
Your dad left you, Horatio. He's never.
What am I gonna?
He's never been.
What am I gonna get that dad of mine? That dad who's always here for me.
He's never been here. For
what?
you.
What about the? No, you know the dad who's always.
No, the dad.
What am I gonna? Shall I get him?
He left you at childbirth.
You mean? Yeah, I'll get him a bookmark.
Bookmark Boys. That's the one. That's perfect.
What's a sad little life, Jane?
Yes, it's an extender, Alan Partridge.
You are blind to reality, and for that I am most proud. More of the Rose, Schitt's Creek.
A hard hat can protect you from bricks, but it can't protect you from banter. That is Kerry Mucklow from this country.
And of course,
Never seen
I would only be in a porno if it was called Horatio Gould calmly destroys dad ass with truth and logic.
And my one, which is downstairs, says, I have a zero tolerance policy on litter.
Great guys, great gal. subscribe to them and subscribe to us, and also join our Patreon.
This week on the Patreon, we're going to get our penises out.
Well, we're thinking of content. We might do a genuine dick measuring contest on the Patreon, because I think a lot of people would like to know who's packing the most heat.
Well, we know.
We don't, because we haven't measured.
Well, it's big cock, small balls. Small balls, big cock.
We've discussed this endlessly.
But my cock only looks small because of how big my balls are.
You keep telling yourself that, pal.
I don't.
You've got that written on your ceiling, just for some motivation to wake up every
I
morning.
think I think it's an optical illusion, and you only have a big cock because how tiny your little tiny
My little tiny
your,
balls.
your chickpea balls.
Chickpea balls, yeah.
That make your cock.
Hey,
look
there's at least
ginormous.
3 chickpeas in each ball. No, are we doing it erect or flaccid?
It would have to be erect, wouldn't it?
That is the only way to do it.
It's fully extended.
Well then, yeah.
Or we could do 2. We could do it like
2
different.
cocks.
we could
What? We're going to measure both of them.
You can measure. No, because you could do it as like disciplines, like in the Olympics, where it's like, okay, he's good on.
He's good on flaccid, but can he do it on the erect?
This is actually a very strong suit for Horatio, so
Yeah.
I'm expecting big things from him.
Oh wow, that's some great measurement.
This weekend, I went to Latitude on a free ticket. That was great. Normally, when we've gone to festivals, it's been a 4-day weekend where you had to pack loads of stuff. It's a big stress getting there. We went midway through because BB and Jess are doing a live podcast. And
It's kind of your ideal conception of fun, because you don't really like to indulge in all the fun. You just like a slice.
you
of
know
the
what?
fun.
It was perfect because I
Yeah.
could just go in, and it was like it was a stressless dirt journey there, and it was a stressless.
You like
journey.
it when something fun's happening. The best way you can enjoy it is if there's a clear and quick exit.
There's a queer
Exit.
There's a queer.
And there's a queer exit.
If there's
If there's an exit that isn't
clearly
heteronormative.
homosexual, yeah. And it was great. Latitude's a good fest. It was the first big festival post-COVID. Everyone did COVID tests before, so there was no masks. So it actually felt like normal life. Something very bizarre happened. I met a couple of kind of humorously famous people in their level of fame.
Who?
Well, I'll tell you.
Sorry, yeah.
So we had performers' tents, so the tent was already set up. There was camping beds.
Yeah.
It was great. And it was terribly
Was it
signposted.
one tent with loads of beds?
No, we all got
Okay.
all the performers.
A section.
Yeah, you got a section, and not all performers. It was a special thing for Jesse and BB, and it was very badly signposted. No one seemed to know what the fuck was going on. Hence, when we arrived, Jesse and BB, they just went to their tent to check it out early, and they found out they were on in 5 minutes. And
Really?
It's just because they'd. And then when you spoke to them, it was like, "Oh, sorry," as if it wasn't a big deal.
Jesus Christ.
It was literally it was terrible, and so there's a lot of things like that. And we were looking for our tent. We were in the performance section. We didn't know which tent was ours because no one had told us anything. And then I speak to someone who works there who was off shift, and she's like, "Oh, let me speak to someone." You'd think the manager is the way they're talking. This person, so she goes over and she starts speaking to this man, and just starts talking for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, is that Mark Kermode?
Was it?
It was Mark. Then Mark Kermode.
It was Mark Kermode.
And Mark Kermode comes over, and he's like, "All right, call this number. She'll tell you where to be." Like he was the manager of the thing, and I was like, "Mark."
He always does seem to be a man in control, though.
Yeah, and then BB was like getting flustered. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Thank you, sir," like being way over the top, embarrassing me.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "God, you didn't have to do that, Mark." And then he looked at us genuinely with a look of utter disgust, being like, "Well, it's almost as if it was like,
Yeah.
what, do my job?" And
What did he actually say?
apparently, he just went, "Okay," like
Really?
he was literally like, "Okay," because he'd been really helpful, and we were like, "Oh, you don't have to do it." And she was like, "Oh, you really don't have to," and he was like, "Okay."
Yeah, odd reaction.
Yeah, as if
Maybe he
had
was.
no idea
maybe
that he was Mark Kermode.
Maybe he was moonlighting as the performer's field manager.
Apparently, he goes there every year and sets up, so probably knows all the things.
Yeah, okay.
And then when
Do you reckon he hangs around that area, never actually goes down to the festival because of the sense of power he gets from the people asking him
I
these
think
questions?
that's Mark Kermode's vibe.
It sounds like a
I
Kermode
think
thing to do.
that does seem like, and he just gets really high on pointing out other people.
We should do for our merchandise commodes,
Yeah,
like with his face on.
Kermode.
Yeah, I think a commode.
Kimono.
No. A commode is an American thing to call. It's like a dressing gown potentially. Commode.
That's what a kimono is.
No. A kimono is like a bit. It's longer. It's thinner. It's like a Chinese thing.
Yeah, Japanese.
Oh well,
Go on.
That is not what I expected a
That's it,
commode to
that's
be.
Okay, I'm gonna put
Get a picture up now.
I'm gonna put a picture now of what, and I'll actually take a screenshot so you can see what we're looking at.
So perhaps we could still run with this idea. It hasn't died. A commode does exist. If we put his face perhaps on the bottom, on the bowl, like facing upwards.
Kermode is like a portable toilet.
Well, it
like
seems
a
to be.
wheelchair toilet. I can't
Just in case you need to shit on the move.
I assume it's for old people to have by their bed.
A commode is any of many pieces of furniture. The Oxford English Dictionary has multiple meanings of commode. The first relevant definition reads: a piece of furniture with drawers and shelves in the bedroom. Sure. Okay, look, we're not getting what we want. Is a commode a toilet? That's what we need to ask. In the United States, a commode is now a colloquial synonym for a flush toilet. The word commode comes... How did I think this was a dressing gown?
Kimono. The Japanese one.
I know what kimono...
And
I
that's
have
a
a
dressing
kimono.
gown. Yeah, that's a dressing gown type thing.
I guess I've just always presumed that was a weird Americanism for a kimono.
Yeah.
But then... God,
Mark
I
Kermode...
need to rethink some of my conversations with my American friends.
Mark Kermode...
Can I wear your commode?
Mark Kermode's commode. That could definitely be a merch.
Yeah, and his
with like
face
a toilet
is at the bowl.
In the bowl. So
looking up. So you shit on Mark. Just like he shat on you with that response.
And just like you shout on all the reviews of any...
Anyway, that took a very odd twist, so you can get back to...
Yeah. And it was just funny because BB and Jesse was doing the live podcast, and it's just a shit-talking podcast that gets views enough that they could fit it in a live podcast, but it is just two girls talking out their arse like this podcast is, like all good podcasts are. And they were in the literary tent, and the two acts on before them was Jess Phillips, the MP, discussing her book and having a very serious chat about the future of the Labour Party, and then John Cooper Clarke.
John Cooper Clarke.
You know and he was just
doing his poetry.
He was just doing his poetry, and it was a nice guy. He was just literally just.
Oh, that's the dream.
It was,
to follow.
but then it'd been John Cooper Clarke, and then they go up.
Hello.
It was fucking bizarre.
Yeah, that is. Was there much? Did the crowd shift? Was there people in to see Cooper Clarke, and then they shifted out for?
There was a general, but a lot of them, everyone in the literary tent. No one ever seemed like they was enjoying themselves at any point in the literary tent. I think they were, but it felt like it was a lot of tired old people who just wanted to sit down.
Oh, was it standing?
Well, lying you sit on the grass.
Okay, you sit on the grass, yeah.
And so they just wanted, a lot of old people I think had enough walking around, and so they just wanted to there was a lot of people just literally asleep.
Yeah. Well, what better to...
That was sort of the vibe.
John Cooper Clarke live in person drifting you off is perfect.
That's exactly what you want. Live and laughing, John Cooper Clarke.
Well, was there any other highlights from the weekend?
Chemical Brothers were very good.
Yeah.
And it had a realisation where it was like, I remember, kids, you shouldn't do drugs, but you should do drugs.
Stop doing them.
But at festivals, you should do drugs, is my view.
Do them.
Do them. Because it's like, this was such a good festival experience. And I was like, I'm not going to take any drugs. It's fine. And I had a great time without them. And I didn't need them. But it would have been 10 times better with them. I was watching Chemical Brothers, and the graphics and
they do all their they do like mad hologram.
It was insane.
We I saw in Festival. I'm not sure if you were there, but they did. It was in that.
Yes, I think that's
and
it.
they do like men fighting.
Yeah, that was what it was. It was unbelievable, and I was like, I was only on alcohol, and I've been around, and it brought me back.
You're on the coal.
It brought me back to life, and I was like, fuck. I was tired. I was lagging. I don't need drugs because it's so good. And then anything that's that good,
you're just a twitch going, like some ketamine.
Because that is the problem. Is that anything that is good enough that you don't need drugs would be better with drugs. That is, if something is good enough.
Yeah, no, it's
that you don't need drugs.
Hence,
then it will always be better with drugs. It's a horrendous realization I had. I was like, this is amazing. I don't need drugs.
If only I did have some drugs. Have you got any drugs? No, I don't need them. This is great without them. Have you got any drugs? No, I don't need them. This is amazing. It's fantastic. You got any drugs?
It's so funny when you don't need drugs. And it was like,
look, I just don't need drugs. I don't need them at all. I had the time of my life. Do you have any?
We met like a group of people who we'd nenever really hung out before. We were all stragglers, and we made like a group, and none of them. We'd all had the same thing of talking about how much we don't need drugs, and then constantly saying, "Do you have any? Do you have any cash?" No, we don't need it.
No, surely not. Yeah, that's quite a dark realization. It's not dark because
It's not dark because-
it comes from a good place, but
No,
then
yeah,
it comes from a dark place from a pleasure seeker.
No, I think festivals. Festivals. If there's ever a place to have a good drug experience, it would be festivals.
The problem is on a 4-dayer. I'm not saying this is about drugs, but when you start on the first, like I always just go because my self-control isn't what it used to be, and it's never been.
What did it used to be?
It's never been very good. On a Thursday, I tend to just go ham and think this is going to be every single festival. Like I'm there.
And then you do actually burn out. Crazy
I'm there
quick,
going.
yeah.
This is gonna be the best weekend of my fucking life. And then you wake up on Saturday and then you're constantly chasing feeling normal, and then therefore you're chasing feeling normal in the day to be elated in the evening, and you can never quite get back to that Thursday buzz. So for me, the best day of the festival is the half day on the Thursday.
When there's no acts.
Well, there's some acts.
Yeah.
Not the best ones. But you're feeling the best. So that's my festival tip. Just go for Thursday and then leave.
Yeah, and that's been us. We've been Gordon Cohen. You've been
You still can't say my second name right.
Cohen.
Yeah.
Gordon Cohen.
Don't put that
Gordon
enunciation on.
Cohen.
Stop acting like I've asked you to do
Kerwin.
something completely unreasonable. Kerwin.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, you went Kerwin.
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 Gordon Kerwin.
Kerwin. It's not an ideal name, to be honest.
Just change it then. Just say how you want. I give up. Go on, finish it out.
Gould McFaggon.
Thank you.
Gordon McFaggon. Because our radio show used to be called In the Conversation with Gordon Cohen.
It also used to be called Daniel Nathaniel Goes to Disneyland.
That was when we had a very brief thing where we were kind of semi-hired by a startup, and they bought the copyrights.
They bought the rights to our names at one point.
So we had to do a season where we changed it. We thought, well, I've always wanted to call a show Daniel Nathaniel Goes to Disneyland.
So
if there was ever a time, we did for one season.
We need to drop those radio promos, actually.
Yeah, we do.
Well, that is terrifying. Has it ever been on? It's not the end of the world because I'm not entirely sure a lot of people watch the full thing. Was it just on the camera then?
Yeah, definitely the camera.
But as in like it was just the camera storage.
Yeah. We have 32 minutes. We have half an hour's worth. That's fine. It hasn't happened before.
We didn't actually do a sign off then. Let's come back. Let's just do a video. Come back and we can explain what happened as well.
Well, I'll explain in the.
But we didn't do a goodbye.
Is the thing still rolling?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just found out that the camera was not connected to a power source. So we've only got half an hour's worth of video.
Who listens to video? Who watches a video anyway?
Well, fair enough.
Do you think a fair amount?
More people watch the video than listen.
Oh, well, that's a shame.
So there's more views, but watching all the way through. But you can put it on a YouTube tab and then do something else. You know?
That's what I do.
I wonder how many
Love a
people
podcast.
just watch it straight
That's
up.
my question.
I come back in to watch it sometimes.
My mum always complains about how it's a nightmare when she goes on a dog walk and she
I was
keeps
like, just go on Spotify.
Yeah, I say that. Well, I don't think she has it. She keeps complaining at me because our podcast isn't easy enough for her to listen specifically on a windy dog walk.
Yeah.
And I tell her, there's not much we can do about that, Mum. And I'll tell you again, there's not much we can do about that, Mum.
Spotify is free, and you can listen to it for free. And Apple Podcasts, she has... Does she genuinely not have...
She doesn't have Apple phone. She's a Samsung lady.
You can still have Apple Podcasts.
Look, you can talk to her.
I've
spoken to death with her.
No, actually, I won't speak to her. I do not...
Horatio's ignoring you again, Mum.
I do not negotiate with terrorists.
Yeah.
And I've said this once. I understand that you have to because she's your mother, but I will refuse to negotiate because you give them an inch, they take a mile.
I know. And I wouldn't be giving her this inch unless she birthed me. So I don't know what to do.
Thanks for listening.
Just listening.
Stay swanky, stay swaif. Do we have anything else
Keep
to
it
add?
Foxy the chill pan.